G'day champions! Today we've got a Blackstar JJN-20. That's the signature model, and there's reports of it being super microphonic, like touch anywhere and it comes out the speaker, and strange, really loud, aggressive hums. So let's check it out, eh? So just having a look in the back, someone's put some gaff tape to hold the Tilex down, so I might remove that, clean off the residue that gaff tape always leaves behind, and use some proper contact glue and glue it back down. Being right above the valves, often some contact glues will let go in this area just because all the heat's coming from the valves. So, looking at the valves, we have two Electro Harmonix EL84s and we've got two Ruby 12AX7s. So I'm not sure if they're original or not, but we'll have a look and see what condition they're in. Just checking the fuses. 250 milliamp time delay for the high tension, sorry. It looks intact, let's just confirm. And it indeed is intact. Mains fuse looks intact as well, and yes it is. That rating, sorry, we'll just check the rating. They always seem to, people always seem to put the fuses in with the rating where you can't read it in the holder, so you got to pull it out. I always flick it around so you can just pull the holder out and have a look at the rating without having to take the fuse out of the holder. Time delay 500 milliamp, 250 volt. Yep, that's what we want. Hey, yeah. Now again, big screws, number 3 Phillips. Blackstars are another amp where they seem to always come in with the screws reamed out. And these are not posi drive, they are just straight up Phillips. Thank you. Alright, so here's the guts. We've got circuit board mounted everything. Nothing's really hardwired. Any connections between boards are made with ribbon connectors. The only things that have individual connections are the power areas and the output transformer. So we've got some regulation here with heat sinks. We've got the solid state phase inverter, which is common to a lot of Blackstar models. And we've got some seriously tiny surface mount components. So we've got, we'll start from the input end. Input jack down here with op-amp circuitry for each gain stage. We've got our digital reverb chip. You can tell that's a microcontroller or a processor of some sort, because there's its little crystal resonator alongside it to generate its clock pulses. We've got some local regulation here, so it's probably, I'm guessing, 3.3 volt rail. Maybe a 5 volt rail as well to supply the chip. And moving our way along, you can see that the majority of the preamp stages are all op-amp based. So it's basically like it's a solid state front end. And we've got a couple of gain stages from 12AX7s. So I might have a look at the circuit and figure out what they do. Okay, so I had a quick look at the schematic. Well, not of this one because it's not available, but it's pretty similar to the HT Studio 20, at least in the front end and, well, the valve section, the audio section. But over here, where that one uses an FV1, which is a dedicated reverb chip, this one has a different processor. And it has, which I forgot when I was looking at the back, it's got a USB port. It's an audio interface as well, because, you know, Blackstars don't have enough shit in them how it is. Let's chuck an audio interface in there as well. So when I say that they're built more like DVD players, well, it's getting more and more accurate by the day. So anyway, it is based on, like I said earlier, this chip here, which is a Dream Audio SAM 5504B low cost audio and music multi DSP processor. So that's a tiny little DSP, and it's talking to this chip here, which is its SRAM. That's a MX25L 1606. Oh, sorry, CMOS serial flash memory, 16 megabit. And then you've got your interface chip. So you've got a PCM 1754, and that's a digital to analog converter, so that's coming back from the computer. And then you've got a PCM 1808 analog to digital converter, and that's, as I said before, it's local regulation. So that whole area there is reverb and recording interface. As for the rest of the amp, it's pretty well the same as, or very similar to the Studio 20, at least as similar as I care about right now without getting my head fully into it. Blackstar's really only expect about 3 to 5 years if you're lucky out of one. This one's expensive. It's like it's over $2,000. So just think really carefully before you invest in something that you're only going to get 3 to 5 years out of it if you're lucky. And if it does fail, you send it back to Blackstar, they put a new board in it, send it back, and you might get another 3 years out of it, and just keep doing that until it's obsolete, and then it goes in the bin. That's how it works. So there appears to be nothing wrong with the power supply, so the bias supply is stable. So I'm just putting it on a bad EL84, so we'll just chuck another pair of them in there and see how they go. Got to watch the retainers on this model. They're extremely tight. It's easy to break the tip off of a new valve. So as I often say, you can often tell just by tapping on a valve near your ear if it's going to present issues. Listen to this. It's got a noticeable actual resonant ringing to it, and pretty rattly, whereas the other one doesn't. So we'll just pop a new set of JJs in there, which are winning the Valve Reliability Award this month, but who's to tell what next month will bring, eh? It's state of the art. Alright, so clarification on the topology of this thing. I was looking at the Studio 20, then I realised that was EL34s, not 84s, and it's running a combination of fixed bias and cathode bias. There's a 100 ohm cathode resistor to ground and a bypass cap in the Studio 20, as well as negative supply to the grid. And this one is just fixed bias. So there's no cathode resistor, there's just one bias sense resistor down here with a test point. To zoom in and then show you. So down there you've got 40 millivolt, it says, so it wants you to measure that and adjust it till it reaches 40 millivolts. And that's R279, 1 ohm resistor, and that's a test point in there. And then over here is a test point for the bias supply, TP8. So you're looking for minus 18 volts in one mode, minus 7 volts in the other mode. I'm guessing that's the power switch. And then there's your bias adjustment and your balance between the two valves. So we've got the new JJs in there. We'll just fire it up, we'll keep an eye on the watt meter, make sure it's not running away. We know about what it was drawing before, and if anything runs away we'll jump on it. We've got a speaker plugged in, we've got the power plugged in obviously, we've got an input jack in. One thing I forgot to mention is some models, maybe this one too, cut the bias off if you've got no speaker plugged in too, to protect itself. So you might wonder, you know, what's going on. It could be just that there's no speaker plugged in. So let's fire it up and have a go. Drawing 60 watts, 45 watts, 40 watts. It's dipping down under 40 and now it's starting to rise again as the tubes conduct. 45, 47, 48, 50, 51, 52, 53. And we'll just check what's across that bias sense resistor. 42 millivolts. So it's about bang on. I'll just give it some signal, make sure everything's good. Yep, I've got signal, I won't deafen you with that. We'll play through it in a minute, but just check for noise at the moment. So that's volume maxed out. All those microphonics are gone. A little bit from the preamp valves, but that's turned all the way up too, so you expect a little bit. It's a very high gain amp, like most of these are. So we're hunky dory. We'll have a bit of a play through and make sure everything's happy, and then we'll stick it in the box and send it on its way. So just checking the bias balance now. 388 volts on the plates of an EL84. No wonder it eats them up. Good on you, Blackstar, another win. Made sure an amp won't last a year without issues. Screens have got 380 volts. 380. Do these guys even read data sheets? Like, imagine being a valve manufacturer and printing them and going, no one's going to read this, why am I even printing it? So anyway, we've checked the resistance across the output transformer. Now we're just checking the voltage drop and calculate the bias balance. The resistance on both sides is pretty well identical in DC resistance, so no need to do any calculations, we'll just balance it up according to the voltage. So we've got 2.67 volts there, 2.85 volts there. Get a suitable screwdriver. .65, 2.82. Go that way. Wrong way, of course. We go 2.75. And 2.71. So we'll go 2.73. 2.73. 2.72. 2. That's just gone out of balance. 2.696. 2.696. There we go. So nice and balanced up. We'll just check that 40 millivolts again across the cathode resistor, and we're at 40 millivolts. Happy days. Alright, so after doing the math off screen, because every YouTuber knows you don't do maths on screen. We're sitting at 60% dissipation per side, but having 380, 390 volts on EL84 plates is not a good idea, and that's probably why they're expiring prematurely. So again, bear that in mind before you buy this expensive amp that's built like a DVD player. Alright, so just having a bit of a play. So the Blues Power Select is actually just channel switch. Don't know why they call it that, but it's just, you can hear all the sub-harmonics when you're playing. There's too much bass. It's distracting. You can actually hear the sub-harmonics and tell what frequency they are, and they're not necessarily related to the note, and it's distracting. That's with the voice switch plugged in, with it out, plugged in, pressed in. bit more meat and potatoes without. It just adds tons of bass. It's still got that same lack of top end clarity that pretty much all Blackstars have. It's trying to filter out the fact that it's all solid state clipping, I guess. And because everything's filtered out by the circuit, you turn the tone up and you don't get any air or clarity like you would with like a Vox or a deluxe reverb or something. You just get more 3K thrown at you like a bloody claw hammer. I mean, it's not too bad. It's pretty decent at what it does, but it is, you got to remember, it is a $2,000 and something amp. So we'll go to the gain channel. That's with all the IQ set at 12, EQ set at 12 o'clock. We'll set the gain at 12 o'clock. That's a voice switch plugged in. That seems to add top end, whereas the clean channel one adds low end. When I say top end, it's still everything under that. Sounds like a 2-3K roll off. It sounds similar to just like a tube screamer or something, just a pedal, which is basically what it is. It's op amp with, I think, diode clipping, and then just a couple of valves thrown at the back end of it. So it does what it does. It's got tons of gain, as they all do. Actually, this one's a moderate amount of gain compared to most of them. Let's listen to the reverb. It's got that unnaturally fast decay, which I guess is supposed to make your playing a bit clearer than being in rooms and rooms of reverb, but just it doesn't sound real. Just fades out too quick. That's all the reverb. So there we go. New set of EL84s and she is ready to rock. So see you on the next one. You know where to find me, champions. Right here.